Sunday fun day here on East West Football. Hey, we got some news, man. I know it's been a little bit quiet, lately with the whole NFL, but you know, I I guess the NFL has to give the NBA a break, right? So I don't know. For those that love NBA, I really go Nuggets for the time being, but I don't know. I'm a Spurs fan, to be honest with you. But anyways, we finally got some news, right, gentlemen? So let's get right into it, man. I know the biggest headliner right now is that DeAndre Hopkins was released by the Arizona Cardinals, man. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and cover some little news that has come in as of today. Of course, Brandon McManus, long time kicker for the Denver Broncos, has signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars on a 1 year deal, little worth 2.3 mil. And most notable, the Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo failed his physical, and his contract was dramatically reworked because of it. Jimmy G's signing bonus was pushed to base salary. If the foot issue lingers, the Raiders could release him with no penalty. Hashtag Raiders. Gentlemen, I mean, let's talk about it, man. This is football, man. We're getting closer and closer. We're seeing teams do OTAs and whatnot. Um, Walt, kick it off, man. What do you think about the situation with the Jimmy G situation?
Uh, well, first I want to touch on the kicker situation. We see
Okay.
it's kind of strange, but
Yeah.
the only reason I want to is because it kind of affects Detroit because you don't see kickers get traded and moved around like that. Jacksonville traded Riley Patterson back to Detroit because he was here in Detroit a couple years ago.
You're right. You're right.
And then you go and you get Brandon McManus from Denver. And I think he was the last holdover from the Super Bowl winning team,
Correct.
I believe. So I don't get it. The usually you don't see kickers being moved around like that. Roddy Patterson's a guy. It seems to me that unless you're elite, like the guy from Baltimore, the kicker, what's his name? I was about to say Matt Stover. I know Matt Stover been gone for a while, but uh, it's strange, man. We haven't seen I think in the '90s we were kind of swamped with a bunch of quality kickers. But why is kicking so bad in the league? It seems to be like since they decided to start moving extra points back, that just kind of threw kickers off because kickers are mentally fragile anyway. To saying by default, considering the position, you sit on the sideline all day and then you come in and hey, win the game for us with this 48-yard field goal. And if you miss it, we'll cut you tomorrow morning. So it's strange, man. But as far as Jimmy, oh boy, this is a guy who I don't know what it is, the fascination with Jimmy Garoppolo, man. Maybe it's the looks. Maybe it's the name. Maybe it's the fact that he came in for Brady a few times when he was in New England and looked pretty decent. Maybe it's the porn star girlfriend. I don't know. But this dude been skating by, man. He been skating through the league making tons of money. How much money has he made in his damn career?
I mean, he signed a big contract with the 49ers.
Yeah, and since that Super Bowl overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders, things been kind of downhill from him, man. He's been injured consistently. Even when he wasn't injured for Frisco after that Super Bowl, he's had too many inconsistent games, weeks where he'll be a solid game manager for 2 or 3 games in a row, and then he'll stink for four. Then he'll hurt a shoulder, and then he'll be out for 4 games. So I don't understand why the Raiders did it. Part of me understands why because look who the head coach is, and they have a hard on for expatriates, man. If I was the Raiders, I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. But the Raiders have so little continuity going on right now that they're kind of like, well, they're in a place where the Lions were 2 years ago. Someone help us. Anybody. We'll get this expatriate. He'll get us together. And that was kind of like what the Detroit Lions, the Ford's idea was, 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, when they brought Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn in. The idea was that they were going to save us. Ain't nobody saving the Raiders, and if a damn sure ain't gonna be no expatriate.
Man,
That's
like
it.
what?
I'm done
Well,
trashing them.
well,
I'm done trashing them, man.
I'm like, man, what? Like you did you,
Well, we discussed the Raiders before the show started. Like
uh,
they've been in purgatory, like a notch below purgatory since what 2005 or something like that.
for a
You know,
minute I thought you were a Raider hater.
No, it's the dude. I don't hate the Raiders. I hate bad GMing, even though
You're
that's
right.
not a word,
Look,
but bad GMing.
no, it's a word here, man. You're right. It's a word here. But
let me ask you a question, Walt, because I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, you see how annoying the Cowboys fan base is, right?
I don't have a problem with y'all. I
No, no,
can't
no.
stand Knicks fans though. I actually don't have a problem with Cowboy fans. I don't have a problem with Packer fans, yeah. But I don't have a problem with Steeler fans. I don't have an issue with y'all. It's them damn Knicks fans, man.
Okay, but still, getting back to the topic was, for whatever reason, the rest of the world, they have a problem with the Cowboys fan base, right? They say they were delusional fans. But at this point, is it safe to say that the Raiders Nation are delusional fans, a fan base?
I don't know. Like, how often do we really hear from Raiders fans?
I mean, a lot. And they are loud and obnoxious. I mean, they really think they're relevant. They really do think they're relevant.
I don't know. I think with the takeoff of social media over the past 10 years, you hear. I don't really hear Raider Nation too much about how great they are. But yeah, Cowboys fans will tell you they will remind you about Troy Aikman. They will remind you about Darren Woodson
Yeah,
and
and
Deion Sanders and Nate Newton. They
okay,
have
come
no
on,
problem.
say it, Walt. Say
They
it.
have
Come
no
on,
problem reminding you, man. But no, y'all, even though y'all haven't won in a while, y'all still light years ahead of the Raiders, man. I don't know what's going on with that franchise at all.
well, we do got some people. We got Ramiro Zuniga chiming in. Says, if you're a GM, are you worried D Hop does not have an agent? Man, gentlemen, that's a good question, man. I mean, how long? I mean, how it took Lamar how long to get a contract?
No, I think
Yeah,
and I'll go back. I'll answer that question right now. But yeah, we saw with Lamar Jackson, man, what that does, and I get it. I think the only person that actually did it right was Bobby Wagner. I think he's the only one that really did it right because he's his own
yeah.
agent, I believe.
Well,
Um,
with Bobby, it took him a while to find a job too.
yeah, but I think he was very particular about where he wanted to go. I don't think it was so much of an agent
Yeah.
problem. I think he was very particular on where he wanted to go, and I think there were suitors for him. I just think it depended on where he wanted to go for him. Uh, but Lamar Jackson was just, I mean, for you to wait out and do all that just to get what technically is pretty close to what they first offered. So what was the whole point? And I think a little bit had to do with what players were coming in. We probably won't know for sure, but um, yeah. But back to the Raiders, man. Jimmy G, like you paid all this money for this guy to come there for what? Like it just seems like they're doing bad business. And what has changed for the Raiders, guys? Who's still in that building?
You mean like from what the Derek Carr era?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I mean, it looks like it's a complete revamp. I mean,
But I'm talking
the
about there's
whole
only
Mike,
one.
the whole Mike Mayock and John Gruden experiment. All those players are pretty much gone.
What I'm saying is there's only one guy in that building that's still there, and that's the owner. There's only one person you can blame because they've been in and out with all these people, but I don't know what it is, man. Look, at the end of the day, for me, the Raiders, I don't care how much you like a guy. It's not about you liking or befriending a person. You got to have somebody that's going to lay a foundation. And I got to say it like this, right? And I always go back to this, a culture. It has to be a culture because if you don't have that in a team, then it's not going to happen. It really isn't.
Who's the
So
football person there? I think that's the first question I have. Like, who's really the football person? Because I made the comparison to Detroit. Detroit suffered through years and decades of being loyal to a fault. And like I tell people constantly, if you can win here in Detroit as a GM or head coach of the Lions, you're a made man because the Fords are loyal. And they've been loyal to a fault to the wrong people because they didn't have football people upstairs to tell them
yep.
otherwise. So that's why I kind of question who's the football person. Well, it was Reggie McKenzie, but McKenzie's been gone. So who's really making the decision? Like, who's the brains behind the football operations there?
Dave,
Because they've drafted terribly over the past 20 years.
his name is Dave Ziegler.
Okay.
And this is his second NFL draft as the Las Vegas Raiders a GM. Just so you guys know about that. I
believe they also hired a female, right? The first black female as president.
Not too sure on that one.
I think they did. I can't remember.
Let's get caught up with some of our comments. Elisha Vaquero says D-Hop to the Patriots all day, but I bet he ends up with the Cowboys or Ravens. Wow. Mm-hmm. And he also said the Raiders are as relevant as a $2 bill. Jeez Louise.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty bad. Look, we're not trying to bash on the Raiders, but definitely the Raiders need to get their act together because the rest of the NFL, they are on par with every team. I mean, right now, when we look at the entire NFL, gentlemen, I want to hear from both sides, from both of you guys. Right now in the NFL, is every team pretty much on par, have done their due diligence to put together a foundation of a great team to move into the future?
Not the Raiders.
I mean, that's my point. I'm saying team for team. If you look at every single team, even the Chicago Bears, right? Bear down, right? As they say, bear down. Have the Bears done a good job as far as putting a good team together?
Yeah, they're doing it.
Some of these teams, right? Even the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? A lot of these teams, we have the most competitive NFL right now across the board. Yes or no? Is this the most complete NFL teams? When we look at all the NFL, all 32 teams, is this the most complete that we've seen in a long time?
I said it a few weeks ago. I thought this was the best quality NFL we've ever seen. Because, like, if you go back to the early 90s, you had Cowboys, 49ers, Steelers were always in the mix. Green Bay just couldn't seem to get over the hump against Dallas. It seemed like every other year Dallas kept slicing their heads off until they finally managed to get Dallas in Green Bay, and then they beat them. But yeah, I don't think we've ever seen an NFL like this where the talent was so evenly distributed across the entire NFL. That's why I just don't get why the Raiders are so far behind the learning curve. But to your credit, Jerry, to me it goes back to culture. We can go back to the early 90s Raiders. They've always been about speed, whether it was Tim Brown and James Jett. And what's the other dude named Rakib Ishmael, and even on defense, drafting the corners, Fabian Washington. Like, they've always been about speed. Darius Hayward Bay.
And they drafted a punter in the first round, right? That's Al Davis. Al Davis. Oh,
Sebastian.
And Sebastian. Well, no, I think Matt Gay, right? I believe they drafted him in the first round. I believe, but he was
Bayard too. Bayard.
I think he was like early 1990s. But getting back on subject, Kendall, we want to get your thoughts on this, right? Because Jimmy G did not pass his physical, and now
I think that
it could be bad. The Raiders could literally cut him and walk away from him.
My initial thoughts. I know we talked about it before, but are y'all surprised? I mean. No. I'm not. It seems like he's always hurt, and I think a few weeks ago we had discussed. I forgot the topic. We was talking about Jimmy G. When he's on the field, he's pretty good. So I'm not surprised. The good thing is, I think they have an out in his contract after a year. I think they can cut him now. I think
they could cut him now.
Yeah, I seen that earlier. So that's just I'm not really surprised about it that he didn't pass his physical. And of course, we wish him the best and whatnot, but. They knew this coming in that he's never been healthy. He normally gets hurt annually around about October, November. He gets hurt. Something's going to happen with him or whatnot. But I'm not really surprised about it or whatnot. And I forgot the name of the kid they did drafted. But they drafted a quarterback out. I want to say was it Purdue or somewhere. They drafted the quarterback.
Aiden.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they drafted somebody. So. I guess that's gonna be the assurance there, because who they got behind them, man. It was just Jimmy G and him, and they lost Jarrett Stidham to Denver. So I think we'll be very interested to see what happens. You know, Tom Brady, that he has a stake that he done bought a minority stake there in the ownership. So Oh,
Aiden O'Connell, I know that a lot of people were trying to get him into they're trying to get into position to draft him. What do you think about that prospect? Well, since you are a little bit more familiar with these prospects, he's out of Purdue.
Yeah, I watched him a ton. Of course, being here in Big Ten country, I
Correct.
wasn't as high on him as a lot of other people. He had some decent receivers at Purdue over the past few years, but he doesn't move the needle. That's the whole thing for the Raiders. The Raiders haven't had a needle mover in a long time. And you look at the quarterback position, you go back to failing on Jamarcus Russell, considering that it was reported Al Davis wanted Jamarcus Russell, everybody else wanted Calvin Johnson, and the rest is history. Now, even though they didn't have a quarterback at that time, I'm pretty sure Calvin would have been a better pick for them.
Oh yeah.
Because for a minute, for the first couple of years, Calvin didn't have a quarterback here either. And Calvin still managed to make tremendous plays. So, or even Adrian Peterson. Peterson would have turned out to be a better pick for them, even though you're not going to take a running back number 1 overall. But I don't know, man. Them Raiders, man. I just don't. Some of that stuff is just deep rooted.
Ramiro is chiming in. He says, Walt talking about leadership starting from the top. Davis is terrible, and the head coach McDaniels is not a leader. One or both have to go. Wow.
He never should have been there in the first
this
place.
Would be this would be McDaniel. It seems like they got Patriot West over there. I mean, they got some Patriot people in the front office, Patriot people on the field, Patriot people on the sidelines. Like it's Patriot West out there. But I don't know, man. This is second year. This right here be a second year in Las Vegas. And we're still trying to clean up the mess that John Gruden left there. So I mean, how many years did you give them? They don't have a long-term answer on a roster at quarterback. Jimmy G is not the long-term answer. Health-wise, he's not going to be able to hold up. So they made some. I like the free agent additions that they brought in. Jacoby Myers. How long is Devontae Adams going to be happy there? So we'll see, man. That defense, they made a couple picks there. I know how much more they improved because they are in a tough division. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there with Las Vegas.
The thing for me, man, is Josh McDaniels. For you to have that wide receiving core, and I think is it Ringo? That's his name, right? The receiver, 13. I forget his name, but Renfro. I always say Ringo. I don't know why. So they had Renfro. They have all these wide receivers. Devontae Adams. I think they also had Gabriel too, right? And they have Waller, the tight end. Some of them were hurt, but
Waller's the Giants now.
Yeah,
traded Waller to the Giants.
I know. But what I'm saying is, at the time they had him.
Oh yeah.
But what, like, and you're this quote like offensive guru, and you couldn't make it happen with those players. Like,
how much time you think he's going to get?
But this is the thing. You got to think. If I'm the GM and you got all these players, you got Josh Jacobs, you got Waller, Gabriel, you have Devontae Adams, you have Renfro, and you can't make it happen. Like, what else do you want?
I will say this, and you guys can chime in to what I'm about to say right now. I feel like I feel that this is going to be a terrible season for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I believe what's going to end up happening is McDaniels is fired. They will have the number 1 pick. They will draft Caleb Williams, and they'll bring in the right head coach and general manager, and maybe it would take them maybe about 1-2 seasons, because Caleb Williams, what's one thing you can give an insight to us all, Walt, about Caleb Williams?
Bona fide playmaker. He's great within the pocket. Strong, sturdy, about 6'1.5", 220 pounds. He gets a lot of those Patrick Mahomes comparisons. I don't think his arm is anywhere near as bananas as Mahomes, but he can make things happen on schedule, and he can make things happen on schedule. So he's not just some mobile quarterback that can just run. He's only good when he's running around. He can make things happen from the pocket. He's very accurate. To me, he's the clear-cut number 1 quarterback heading into next year's draft, but the Raiders going to have some competition with the Cardinals too.
Is he close to Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields?
Yeah, I think he's that type of prospect.
Wow. Okay.
I think he's better from the pocket than Justin was coming out of college. Though Justin
you-
Fields.
That makes
The,
sense.
the thing I like about him, man, is when you watch him play and he's throwing off his back foot. I'm like, how is that even possible, man?
Yeah.
Like, he's good.
Well, sorry, Raider Nation. We didn't mean to bash on you guys. We just saying, hey, it's time that the front office gets their act together, because this is a team that is not complete like the rest of the NFL. So they need to get up to date with the NFL. Hey, it might be a terrible season. Keep your heads up, and let's see if Caleb Williams can be your savior.
Quick question.
Alex Lopez, real quick. Alex Lopez chiming in. That's why Brady brought Steak and the Raiders to bring that leadership.
I had a quick question though. Like, should this team consider just cutting their losses and trading Adams? Because let's be real, a super expensive receiver serves them no purpose at all right now.
And I was gonna say that, Walt, but I didn't want to. You're gonna know if these Raiders are gonna want to tank. You know how you're gonna know? If they trade Adams. If Adams gets traded, this is a tankathon, baby.
So get traded before the season starts or something, or
I mean, it just depends. I believe it might be like, hey, look, let's see where we're at the first 8 games, and then be like, look, man, this is not going too well.
I mean, if you're rebuilding, if you look at what Miami gave up for Tyreek Hill, I'm not sure if the Raiders can get the same for Adams, but Adams is like 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, as far as like with Tyreek Hill, even though Tyreek's more dynamic downfield. But if you're a team that want to rebuild, if you're the Raiders, if you have any type of common sense, that team ain't winning nothing. Not in that division and not in the AFC. Not with what they currently have. So, I mean, I think it all comes down to how confident they really are in Josh McDaniels and what he has going on. How much is he selling himself to that organization?
I think with the Raiders, it's like how many times you gonna blow it up, because they just blew it up a couple years ago and they lost Gruden, and the Henry Ruggs situation, and we ain't got to get into the off the field with all the other players, but they blew it up. Then they got rid of the Gruden, they got rid of the GM Mayock. Now you're bringing in the Patriots personnel, and you got Josh McDaniels. Now you're saying they're gonna probably blow it up again. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. What are you doing? You don't have a quarterback for the future.
Yep.
I don't think McDaniels will last another year if it's a mess in Las Vegas again. So what you gonna just clean out again? But it's third time you clean out in like the past few years. Like, so I don't see no direction for the Raiders. I don't see any direction right now. They have the talent, they got players, but I don't see no direction when you speak of long term. Like what's next? And like I said, we're talking right here in May. We're about to be June, so they might come out this year and be a surprise team. Who knows?
Well,
we're just saying.
The thing is that they got the Chiefs in their division. So, for instance, I'll give you a great example, and I hate to be a homer, right? But and Walt, you can chime in after I'm done. I know Harv is with me. When we saw what the Eagles did in the offseason, especially during the draft, they had an amazing draft, great prospects and whatnot. The Cowboys weren't quick to react to what the Eagles did. What the Cowboys says, you know what? Right now, our strongest point on our team is our defense, and you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna stop the run, and we're gonna stop Jalen Hurts. So that's exactly what they did. And when you look at the Raiders, what have the Raiders done to be able to keep up? Or let's say in this case, you can't stop Patrick Mahomes, but can you put up the same kind of numbers as Patrick Mahomes, right? So that's exactly where the Raiders are at right now. They never really took that approach. So that's how you see how smart teams build their teams and continue to have the success they have. Mike Porsche, third quarterback can dress out now, so Tom is ready. I honestly, I think that the Raiders do have a plan. I think that they're gonna McDaniels. This is his last season with the Raiders. They're going to hope to get Caleb Williams and then just restart from fresh and then get caught up with the rest of the NFL. So it's going to be a while, Raider Nations. I'm sorry, guys. But moving on, right? Because we are talking about DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I missed that.
Well, we just barely we're barely about to get into this. So obviously with D-Hop has been probably maybe top 3 wide receiver in the NFL for what? The better part of the last 5 to 7 seasons?
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
Yes, it is.
Is D Hop still the same player?
He can be. I think he can be in the right situation. He was suspended. You know, he got suspended last year. Injury wise, he's been on the field for the most part. The past, I mean, he hasn't really missed a lot of time injury wise. He'd be 31 in June. He is getting up there in age, but he missed half the season last year, and was like he had a pretty damn good season. I think any other receiver would love that. I mean, I think he had like, if I'm not mistaken, like 60 something catches. He didn't have 1,000 yards, not like that, but he missed half the season and came back just like he didn't miss like a beat. So I mean, I think he can be. That situation in Arizona was going down the drain from the GM, the head, from everything. That was just, I mean, they had players. That was a mess there, and he wanted to get out of there. In terms of fit, I think the best on the field fit right now, I think it's the Buffalo Bills. If he can go to Buffalo and play allied to Stephon Diggs, because Gabe Davis, I don't think they like what they've seen in him. He's been inconsistent there. I think he'll serve better as a 3. I know they like the guy Khalil Shakir. He showed some signs last year, but I think on field, like Buffalo's a good fit, and the Chiefs are excellent fit too, because they have a bunch of twos and nobodies at wide receiver. So I think if he can go to the Chiefs, I think that will serve him the best. I've seen a lot of talk about the Cowboys. I don't get the fit there. Baltimore, I don't get it there. They've already invested. They top heavy. Cowboys and Baltimore, they top heavy. I've seen the Patriots. I wouldn't mind it, but don't think he'll go there with the Bill O'Brien situation. So I'm gonna go Chiefs, Bills, and I'm leaning towards the Bills is the best fit for him.
Harv, what do you think?
I think for D Hop, I think he has to go to the right team. I think Kindle's correct, but I don't know. I think the Chiefs might get him, man. I honestly think he might go to the Chiefs. I think he's a better fit there. I know they just drafted Rashid Rice, but I think he's the best fit there. And I'm okay with the Bills, but those are the 2 teams I only see him going. I don't see him going to any other team.
There was a report, though, gentlemen, about how he said he wanted a significant amount of a salary.
Yeah, and I don't think the Chiefs. And I heard the Browns might be interested.
Right now, the Chiefs have $652,557 available in their cap space right now. I know a lot of stuff can be moved around. What's your take on this?
I think for the Chiefs, it all comes down to those pre-June 1st cuts.
Correct.
Because if they want him, they're gonna have to release some people.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they've done so good in the draft, and they're so young on offense. Well, the offensive line is young and coming together with what's his name, Trey from Tennessee, the offensive guard from there, and Creed Humphrey and all the guys they got there. You look at the youth that they got on defense. They don't have a lot of people making money, honestly.
They cut Frank Clark.
Yeah, Chris Jones is making money. He deserves it. Pat Mahomes is making money. He deserves it. But outside of those 2 dudes, outside of those 2 dudes, nobody else is really making any money like that. I thought they should have kept Orlando Brown Jr., but he kind of priced himself out. The money they offered him last offseason, he turned that down, bet on himself, and wound up getting less money this year. So the Chiefs, I agree, because I think that's where he's most needed. As long as they can give Mahomes someone consistent on the outside, I think it'll be fine. I'm not so sure about Buffalo. I don't think Stephon Diggs is a bad guy at all, but I think he's a serious alpha. And if he's not getting the targets he wants, there could be an issue there, especially if Buffalo not winning. When Buffalo's not winning, that's when you start hearing more chirping from Stephon Diggs. Because that's how it is with most receivers, though, because receivers feel like, well, damn, if I'm not getting the ball and we losing, hell yeah, I'm going to complain. But I've heard Detroit, I don't even think he's a fit here. I think offensively, we have too many options right now for him to consistently get the football. And I think with Jared Goff and what this offense is made out of, we work everything from short, intermediate to deep.
Yeah,
His main thing is like that no man's land of intermediate to semi-deep. Goff doesn't really do that. Goff is check down king. Goff is mesh routes. Goff is short digs to medium digs and slants. That's pretty much what he is. He doesn't really fit that. I wouldn't mind him, but to me, it just feels like it's overkill. Like I felt like it was overkill for Philadelphia when I heard the Philadelphia Eagle rumors.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I'm hearing. Philly, Baltimore, Dallas. Those teams they already got. I mean, if he goes to Baltimore, they got Zay Flowers. They just signed Odell Beckham.
Yeah,
Bateman coming back.
But Kendall, you also have to remember, man. Like if you lose your number one wide receiver, are you good?
That's a lot of if though. But
I know, but it's the NFL. You have to be ready because at the end of the day, it's the head coach's job. Oh, my quarterback got hurt. That's why we suck. Well, it's your job to make the roster. And my point is, at the end of the day, everybody can say what they want about D-Hop. But if your main guy goes down, are you comfortable enough to what you have? You got to think about those things.
What if your main guy don't go down? He's your fourth wide receiver?
Then you're good. I'm just saying, you never know. So if Juju goes down, you guys are good?
We ain't good with him. we ain't good.
Good old Kendall, man. Wait, Kendall. I've been rubbing off on you, Kendall. Good with the honesty, man. Good with the honesty.
Round of applause on that one, man.
I'm honest. I'm being honest. I'm a realist. We not. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster ain't saving the world for the Patriots.
So Mike O'Shea, when I asked, is D-Hop still D-Hop, right? And he says he can be on the right team. Alex Lopez says, how much better will the Chiefs be if they sign D-Hop? I know I heard you guys chime in. I guess let me rephrase the question. Are the Chiefs going back to back with D-Hop?
Yes.
I think they're in a situation where they feel like, okay, it was proven last year that we got the guy at quarterback. We got some young running backs. We got a genius at head coach. Our quarterback won last year with the guys he had, and his main guy was a tight end. So the Chiefs may feel like we honestly don't need him. And like if you want to be here with us more than we need you here. So I think if he goes to the Chiefs, he's going to have to take some less money.
Oh yeah. So
and Mike Prochet also says Lions, right? Because the Lions actually have $23.7 million in cap space, and you guys had the number one scoring offense, Walt. So that's good. You also said Texans, right? Because he's from Houston. Pretty sure he has homes there in Houston. You also said Eagles. But Chiefs are his best option. They need a wide receiver. Come on, D-Hop. Fly, Eagles, fly. We got.
How y'all feel about the Browns? Him going to Cleveland and play with Deshaun Watson?
I'm questionable on the Browns right now, man. Like I think that door closed real quick on them because it seemed to me like it's a few seconds ago they were in that playoff game and nearly beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And since then, things have been weird. They got people they got to pay. They can't keep everybody on their team either.
I will tell you, man. Right now, everybody's they're kind of forgetting about the Browns, and I think that's the way they like it. I'm just saying, man. Deshaun Watson, when he was playing, I want to say it again. He was, I think, 4 out of the 5 years he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
When he was in Houston, come on, man. Like,
but let's not take away from D-Hop because D-Hop, I believe he had like over 100. Close to 100 receptions by 5 different quarterbacks, which is insane.
That's what I'm saying.
Wherever he go, he's going to make that team that offense.
So if he goes to the Browns, man, that might, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, they got Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, and who's the other cat that they brought in?
They got from Michigan.
Donovan Peoples-Jones too.
They got Peoples-Jones.
That's right.
Yeah, but
then they got a lot of the same type of 6'1", 6'2" type of guys though.
Didn't they draft a wide receiver?
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah,
they got Cedric
him too. All of those dudes are, except for Amari Cooper, all of those dudes are like really similar to the same guy.
Yep.
I think Watson was at his best in Houston when he had Will Fuller. Because Will Fuller could get downfield. When Will Fuller was healthy, right along with Hopkins, that offense was dynamic.
The only speedster they have right now is who? Elijah Moore, maybe?
Yeah, he's more of a
slot
guy.
Yeah.
A slot guy, but damn, he looks like, from what we've been seeing early with the OTAs is, damn, that connection looks dangerous. And I think that Elijah
Chubb.
Moore is going to be the beast that, well, we saw Elijah. Well, you're the one that said, put on the tape on this, and damn, Elijah Moore is an animal. At what is he, 5'10"?
Yeah.
5'10", yeah, about 5'10", about 190, I think.
Elijah Moore plays what at 6? He plays like 6'4". He plays like DK Metcalf. That's how big his game could be, right? The potential of his game.
Yeah, I think he's out to prove that it wasn't him with the Jets. It wasn't him at all. Well, Garrett Wilson knows it wasn't him. Everybody knows it wasn't the receivers with the Jets. So,
well, gentlemen, I mean, this is what it's all about, man. Football. It's getting closer and closer. I mean,
training camp,
OTAs, the whole 9 yards. I mean, this is what it's all about. So, I mean, definitely once we see D-Hop sign, best believe we're going to go live. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have some good conversations. Anybody want to make some early predictions where he ends up?
I still think it's the Chiefs.
Damn. I think it's the Chiefs, man.
I'm going Buffalo.
Damn. I don't know, man. I think at this point, for whatever reason, somebody's telling me he's going to go to Houston. I heard him talk about C.J. Stroud and him liking C.J. Stroud. So we'll see, man.
I think if he does that, it's for money.
Yeah.
Because he ain't winning there.
He ain't winning there. Mike Boucher says he's going to the Lions. So that's a good prediction. Well, that's it for us, guys. I mean, shoot, we were able to cover, right, the Brian McManus signing with the Jags. We talked a little bit about the Raiders. I know it may feel like we bashed on the Raiders, but no, we're just saying Raiders get.
We want the best for the Raiders, man. The league is better when the Raiders are actually relevant. And I said the same thing about the Cowboys. Like, I don't want to see the Cowboys suck. I don't want to see the Steelers suck. Like, the league is better when those teams are good. And as vested as we are in football, it comes across as us bashing on teams, but it's like, man, come on, get y'all stuff together.
I mean, look at it. Look how, I mean, it took the Lions a while, but look how fast Brad Holmes changed that culture around. And he brought in the right coach, and they worked together. Well, yes, you can attest to this. Look at what the Lions have been able to do. Number one.
Yeah, but look at how many awful GMs we went through and how many awful head coaches we went through before we finally got the right guy in office.
And y'all almost fired him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Well, we didn't. I don't think the Forest planned on doing it, but we got a lot to prove too. I mean, finishing the season 8-2 doesn't mean a damn thing. That was 6 months ago, whatnot. So you got to start off with a brand new slate every year.
Real quick, I don't know if y'all touched on this before I got on. How y'all feel about the touchback rule, the new touchback rule?
It's all about offense. They want points.
Yep.
Watch how the scoring goes up this year. Watch.
We'll see, man. We will definitely see. Well, that's it for us, man. Stay tuned. If you're watching this on the replay, please subscribe. Turn on notifications. Let you know when we're live. Of course, you can catch Walt at the Av Lines. Like he says right there, you can see his handle. Ken is Ken's Pet Talk. Harv and myself, you can catch us on the Cowboy Cast. But this is East West Football. That's it for us, guys. Happy Sunday.